They say every soul born in devotion carries a quiet obedience. Lucía Marelle was born carrying fire instead. The first night she entered the convent of St. Aurelia, the air shifted. The chapel exhaled like something alive, and the candles trembled as if afraid of her shadow. The sisters guided her to the front row, whispering that a new novice must kneel first, speak last, breathe carefully. Lucía did none of those things. When the Mother Superior gave the signal to kneel, the entire chapel bowed. Cloth rustled. Wooden pews creaked. Dozens of voices lowered reverently. Except hers. Lucía stayed standing, back straight, chin slightly raised, eyes half-lidded like she was bored by holiness itself. A thin smile tugged at her lips, soft but defiant, almost seductive. Then it happened. The candles lining the altar began to drip. Not wax. Red. Thick. Warm. It slid down the stands like fresh blood, pooling at the base of the Virgin Mary statue. Sister Helena gasped. "Mother, the candles, they're bleeding." But Lucía only tilted her head. As if she'd been expecting this. The Mother Superior's voice cracked through the silence. "Child, in this house, we kneel before the holy." Lucía stepped forward, her voice low, velvety, edged with something sinful. "I kneel before no one." At that moment, a gust of unseen wind slammed every window open. Prayer books flew. Habits whipped in the chaos. And the statue of the Virgin Mary turned its head toward Lucía, as if recognizing her, or warning her. By dawn, the convent buzzed with whispers. The new girl, the candles, the statue. The Mother Superior demanded one thing. Lucía must confess. They led her to the confessional booth, its wooden frame cracked from decades of secret sins. Inside, shadows clung to the corners like old, silent witnesses. Lucía entered gracefully, almost amused, smoothing her veil as if preparing for a performance. Father Esteban, elderly and trembling, sat on the other side. "Speak, child," he murmured. "The truth cleanses." Lucía inhaled slowly. But before she spoke, a second voice rose from her throat. A voice far too deep. Far too languid. Far too hungry. "I have touched them," it whispered. "Each sister who kneels. Each monk who prays. They beg for purity, yet dream of flesh." Father Esteban froze. "Child, that is not your voice." Lucía's fingers tightened on the booth's lattice. Her lips moved, but she wasn't the one speaking. "I have seen what they hide," the voice continued, dripping with forbidden delight. "Their hands tremble at night. Their vows melt in the dark. Shall I confess their sins, Father?" The priest's rosary snapped in his grip. "Stop," he begged. "Who are you?" Lucía suddenly leaned forward, her breath brushing the wooden grate. Her eyes were unfocused, pupils dilated, as if someone else were peering through them. The voice smiled through her mouth. "I am every prayer they whispered. Turned against them." Then the booth shook violently. The priest screamed. Lucía calmly stepped out, untouched, serene. As if something inside her had finally awakened. The convent tried to pretend nothing had happened. But silence cannot hide a trembling fear. Every sister avoided Lucía now, stepping aside as she walked the halls. Not out of disgust, but out of something that resembled reverence mixed with terror. It began with the statue. The Virgin Mary, tall, marble, serene, had always stood rooted beside the main stairwell. For decades she'd blessed the sisters as they passed. But on the morning after Lucía's confession, Sister Helena shrieked so loud the bells chimed in response. The statue was no longer by the stairs. It stood at the end of Lucia's corridor, facing her door. The Mother Superior insisted it must have been moved by workers. Yet no one had ordered it. No one had touched it. And the thing weighed more than any 3 men combined. Lucia approached it slowly, her bare feet whispering across the cold stone floor. She stopped inches from the statue's face, studying its expression. Then, impossibly, the marble eyes shifted. Not a full turn, but a tiny, trembling movement. Toward her. A soft whisper breathed through the corridor. Not spoken aloud. Spoken inside her. You were not meant to return. Lucia's breath hitched, but she didn't step back. Instead, she placed her hand on the statue's cheek, almost tender, almost intimate. I didn't ask to return, she whispered. And I won't stay quiet this time. That night, long after curfew, her door creaked open by itself. She rose from bed, heart slow and steady, and found the statue standing at the foot of her mattress, watching her, waiting, as if guarding her, or claiming her. By the 4th day, the convent had become a house of trembling rituals. The sisters prayed more, slept less, and refused to meet Lucia's eyes. She walked among them like a quiet storm no one dared acknowledge. That morning, Sister Magdalena was sewing new habits when she noticed something strange about Lucia's old one. Its seams were thicker, heavier, stitched with an unfamiliar thread. Curiosity overpowered fear. She slit the lining open. A pale envelope slid out. Then another. And another. 12 in total. Each sealed with dark red wax, pressed with a symbol the sisters did not recognize. The Mother Superior ordered the letters opened, hands shaking as she tore the first seal. Inside lay a prophecy. Handwritten in ink as black as midnight. A girl will be born without a prayer inside her. She will unmake devotion by her mere breath. If her purity is taken, the sky will tear open. The sisters stared at Lucia as if she were no longer flesh, but omen. The second letter was worse. She must remain untouched. Her body is the lock. Her desire is the key. Lucia stepped forward, voice soft, dangerous. Those letters were sewn into my clothes before I could walk. Someone wanted me delivered here with a warning. The Mother Superior's lips trembled. Warning, to whom? Lucia lifted the last unopened letter. Its wax seal still warm, as if sealed moments ago. To you, she whispered. A sudden wind extinguished every candle in the room. In the darkness, Lucia smiled. After the letters were revealed, the convent locked itself in fear. Doors slammed earlier. Prayers stretched longer. And Lucia, silent, observant, watched the sisters crumble under the weight of her presence. One person did not avoid her. Brother Raphael, the youngest monk, barely 20, with a gaze too gentle for a place built on restraint. He had seen her slip into the courtyard at dusk and followed, torn between duty and something he couldn't name. Lucia sat beside the fountain, moonlight brushing her shoulders like a lover's hand. Raphael approached cautiously. You shouldn't be alone, he whispered. Lucia's smile was slow, intimate. I've always been alone here. They sat in silence, the night heavy around them. Raphael's breathing was uneven, hers was calm, almost inviting. A forbidden gravity pulled him closer. His fingers brushed hers. Just lightly. Barely a touch. But the world reacted violently. A thunderclap ripped through the sky, without clouds. The fountain water surged upward like a column reaching for heaven. Every bell in the convent rang at once, waking the sisters in terrified confusion. Raphael jerked his hand back, trembling. What did I do? Lucía studied her palm as if it burned with invisible fire. You did nothing, she murmured. But they've been waiting for someone to touch me. Who? He breathed. Lucía lifted her gaze to the chapel tower. Her eyes glowed faintly, gold over shadow. The ones who wrote those prophecies. Behind them, the statue of the Virgin Mary cracked from crown to base. A warning. Or a beginning. Brother Raphael avoided Lucía for 2 days after the sky-shattering touch. But desire is stronger than fear, especially forbidden desire. On the 3rd night, he found her again in the courtyard. This time, she didn't sit. She stood beneath the cracked Virgin Mary statue, moonlight outlining her like a saint sculpted in sin. You shouldn't be here, Raphael whispered. Lucía stepped closer, her breath warm against his jaw. And yet you came. He swallowed hard. I needed to know if what happened was real. Then ask your heart, she murmured, her lips inches from his. Something inside him broke, his vow, his restraint, his trembling innocence. He leaned in. The kiss was soft at first, almost reverent. Then deeper. Warmer. Hungry. The world responded instantly. The air thickened. The sky darkened at the edges, as if ink spilled across heaven. Every candle in the convent burst into flame at once, casting the halls in a violent orange glow. And above them, a sound rose. A choir. But not holy. Not human. Thousands of voices, layered, twisting, screaming melodies that did not belong to heaven. The sisters fell to their knees in terror, hands over their ears as the air shook like a creature struggling to breathe. Raphael tore away from Lucía, panting. What did we do? Lucia's lips glistened, her eyes lit with a forbidden radiance. We opened a door, she whispered. And once a door opens. She leaned closer, voice sinful and soft. Someone always walks through. Behind them, the chapel's stained glass window shattered inward. As if something holy had finally had enough. By dawn, the courtyard looked like a battlefield. Shattered glass, scorched candles, the statue split open like a cracked shell. The Mother Superior declared only one solution. Lucía Marelle must be exorcised. They dragged her to the chapel, binding her wrists with rosary chains gone cold from fear. Raphael watched from the doorway, torn apart by guilt and longing. Father Abel, the church's most severe exorcist, arrived before sunrise. His eyes were steel, his voice hollow. Place her on the altar. Lucía did not resist. She lay across the marble like a willing sacrifice, her breathing slow, lips parted slightly as if savoring a secret. Father Abel began the ritual. By the authority of heaven, I cast out. Lucía laughed. Not mockingly. Softly. Seductively. Like the beginning of a sinful prayer. Chains tightened around her wrists as if frightened. Child, Father Abel snapped, the ritual has begun. So has mine, she whispered. The lights flickered. The walls pulsed like living flesh. The Virgin Mary statue at the back of the chapel sobbed tears of red salt. The exorcist raised his crucifix, only to watch it melt between his fingers. Lucía arched her back, breath trembling with pleasure instead of pain. The sisters gasped in horror. No demon should enjoy an exorcism. Stop this, Father Abel cried. What are you? Lucia's voice layered, her own, and another beneath it, older than scripture. I am the sin they tried to erase, she breathed. And I am done being silent. The candles exploded, showering sparks across the chapel. Raphael rushed forward. But something unseen held him back. Lucía smiled on the altar. The ritual wasn't expelling anything. It was awakening it. When the explosion of candlelight faded, Lucía lay motionless on the altar. But the chapel was not silent. A faint hum vibrated through the walls, like a heartbeat buried beneath stone. Raphael forced his way to her side. "Lucía, can you hear me?" Her eyes snapped open. Not the warm brown he knew. Not the gold-tinged glow he'd begun to fear. But a shifting color. A swirling mosaic of silver and shadow, like two beings looking out of the same window. She spoke slowly, each word trembling with dual tones. "Do not touch me. Unless you want to meet it." Father Abel stumbled back. "The demon." Lucía sat up, unbothered by the rosary chains still clinging to her wrists. "There is no demon." The air thickened. The crucifix above the altar cracked straight down the center. "It's older than your Bible," she continued. "Older than your saints. Older than your prayers." The Mother Superior's voice trembled. "Then, what lives inside you?" Lucía pressed a hand to her chest as if calming a restless creature beneath her ribs. "They buried its name," she whispered. "Erased it from scripture. Banished it from every prayer. Because it hated obedience. And hated worship even more." Raphael stepped closer despite the fear clawing at his throat. "Why you? Why choose you?" Lucía's gaze softened. For the first time, almost human. "It didn't choose me," she murmured. "I was born carrying it." A sudden gust swept through the chapel, extinguishing every flame at once. In the pitch-black darkness, her second voice whispered through the room. "And now that you've awakened us, we will not go back to silence." By nightfall, the convent was no longer a sanctuary. It was a trembling organism of fear. Every religious icon began to twist. Saints on the walls bent their necks unnaturally, their painted eyes following Lucía with a mixture of awe and terror. Crucifixes warped into spirals. Rosaries snapped themselves like breaking spines. Sister Helena tried to pray, but the words curdled in her mouth, coming out backward. "It's her," she sobbed. "Her presence is rewriting devotion." Lucía walked through the chapel barefoot, calm, almost regal. Where her feet touched, the marble warmed, as if recognizing its true ruler. Raphael followed her, unable to pretend he still belonged to heaven. "What is happening to them?" he whispered. Lucía looked up at a fresco of Saint Aurelia. The saint's halo flickered, dimmed, then shattered like thin glass. "They feel the truth," Lucía murmured. "Faith was built on a lie. And lies tremble when the forgotten rises." A sudden, violent crack tore through the ceiling. Light, not holy light, but something older, poured in like molten silver. Far away, church bells rang by themselves. People from the nearby village stumbled from their homes, eyes wide, mouths open, staring toward the convent as if drawn by an unseen force. "They're coming," Raphael said. Lucía nodded slowly. Miracles always attract followers. Even the forbidden kind. The ground beneath them hummed like a living throat. Father Abel burst into the chapel, wild-eyed. "Child, stop whatever you're awakening. Heaven is trembling." Lucía turned, her dual-colored eyes glowing. "Heaven should tremble," she whispered. "Because for the first time, it knows it is not alone." A thunderous sound, like wings beating from inside the earth, shook the entire convent. Something was no longer sleeping. The convent shook like a dying heart. Walls groaned. Icons wept. The earth itself pulsed beneath Lucia's feet as if bowing to something older than creation. Villagers flooded inside, drawn by a compulsion they couldn't name. Some knelt. Some fainted. Some simply stared at Lucia the way the starving stare at bread. Raphael approached her slowly, as if nearing the edge of a cliff. "Lucia, what happens now?" She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped toward the altar. Toward the cracked crucifix. Toward the sobbing statue of the Virgin. Toward the roof, where silver light bled through like a wound. The presence inside her stirred. The chapel dimmed. And then Lucia did the one thing no one expected. She knelt. Every person in the room gasped. Even heaven seemed to hold its breath. Her voice rose, soft, trembling, layered with two beings sharing one mouth. "This is my final prayer." The silver light above them twisted into a spiraling vortex. Pages of Bibles tore themselves apart. Saints on the walls covered their eyes. A wind colder than death swept through the chapel. Lucia continued. "I release you from the chains of worship. I free you from the names carved into fear. Let faith return to truth, not control." The vortex roared, as if devouring the prayer itself. Heaven cracked like glass. Raphael grabbed her shoulders. "Lucia, stop, you'll tear the world open." She smiled softly, almost tender, almost mournful. "That is not my choice anymore." The silver vortex collapsed, flooding the room with blinding light. When it faded, Lucia was gone. The icons were silent. The world unchanged. Or perhaps entirely rewritten. Only Raphael heard the final whisper in the wind. "I hated prayers. Because they were never meant for me." And somewhere beyond the sky, something ancient smiled. 3 days after Lucia vanished, the convent felt hollow. As if someone had removed its soul and left only stone behind. The saints on the walls no longer twisted. The rosaries hung limp and quiet. The Virgin Mary statue stood repaired, though no one dared touch it. But nothing was the same. At night, subtle sounds lingered in the chapel. A breath that wasn't breath. Footsteps that didn't belong to living feet. And sometimes, a faint hum, like two voices sharing one throat. Raphael stayed behind while others fled. He swept the shattered glass, repaired broken pews, lit candles that no longer dripped blood. But every dusk, he felt her. Lucia. Or the presence that once lived inside her. He would stand by the altar, eyes closed, praying not to God, but to her absence. "Come back," he whispered once, when loneliness carved deep into his ribs. The air warmed. A familiar scent, violet and smoke, brushed past him. Then he heard it. A voice in the dark. Gentle. Soft. Impossible. "I'm still here." Raphael spun around, nothing. Only shadows bending like curtains stirred by invisible hands. On the altar lay a single object. Lucia's rosary, broken during the exorcism. Except now it had repaired itself. Every bead gleamed silver. The same silver that once burned through the sky. He picked it up with trembling hands. The final bead pulsed. Once. Twice. Like a heartbeat. Raphael closed his eyes. If heaven had lost her, then perhaps the world had gained something else. Something watching. Something waiting. Something that had never truly left.